skills, as I told you. So craft skills, nothing but means what kind of skill set do we need to acquire is what comes under the craft skills. So this is a skill set which is useful for everyone. It is not something specific to any individual. So this kind of skill set is useful for everyone who wants to transform their career to the field of IT as a business analyst. So the detailed form of craft skills as follows. The first we call it as communication skills. When you talk about craft skills, in this, the first one we call it as communication. So communication skills, not only a verbal communication, but written communication skills even needed. Because verbal communication, of course, how and what way it is important, everybody knows that. So apart from verbal communication, one is that written communication skills even needed. Because as a part of business analyst, when we have interacted with all the stakeholders, so and whatever the perception they have, whatever the requirements they're expecting us to develop, whatever we have understood so far, we need to present this to the technical team in a document format. Remember this documentation format and all, everything we follow when you are following a practice of traditional model of application development. But there is a concept called agile nowadays. But in agile, it will be different. It will be slightly different. That I'll explain it in coming days. So written communication skills is also needed. Written communication skill is even needed. So it's not only a verbal communication skills, but even we require written communication skills as well. Because unless until if you don't have that written communication, preparing documents and all everything would be difficult. So of course, it's not happens, it won't happen in a day or two. It's a constant practice of learning on this. So written communication skills even required to become a business analyst. And the third point is that we must be having some good listening skills. This is an underlying competency, normally we call it as. Underlying competency means like you need to, because you may be good at communication, but customer may not be as communicative as you are. So customers sometimes try to explain something about their business problem, all that, and what is that they deliver sometimes due to communication gap might be different slightly. I don't say 100%. This might happen due to ignorance, not by intention. So listening skills are required because through listening, we get to know many things. As you guys were professionals, you know how important listening skills are. Because if you are a good listener rather than a good speaker first, so that you will be understood. So what is that the other person is saying, right? So because different people we come across as a BA. Because as an example, yesterday I have taken as a retail outlet, as a point of sale system I have taken. When you want to transform that application to the next level, what is that you require? Sometimes you need to speak to a business owner for some reason, even with a billing person for some other reason. Maybe you may require to interact with an inventory management professional, or it may be with a store manager or someone, right? So different people you will be interacting with. So you cannot expect everybody are in the same pace of communication whenever they are expecting us to provide the solution. So listening skills are required for any BA apart from verbal communication followed by written. This is point number one. Second, we call it as requirement analysis usually, right? So this is where analyzing the requirements is what we have to do. I'll give you an example to you. There is a point of sale system, the same example. I'm continuing the same example for at least for a few days till the healthcare topic starts. The healthcare topic again, claim processing and all everything we discussed there. That's a different story. But before that, I am taking an example which is easy for anyone to connect with, right? Hence, I am taking this example. Uh, all this our in our training. So let's say there is a point of sale system which customer wants you to upgrade. Assume that there was an application of POS, they were using it. Now they wants to transform you to the next level. This is what generally customer expectation is. Now, when you speak to a business owner, can you expect business owner will deliver you that what features, that what functionalities, all that will be explained by the PA, by the business owner? No. Why? Because business owner or a project sponsor, sometimes there will be a difference between this, right? Project sponsor means who is sponsoring money for the particular solution to be provided. So their perception and vision is different, because this is what the money I'm investing for the solution, and this is what I want to become in near times. In future, this is what I want to become, right? So this is how generally the perception a product, a business owner will build. So if you speak and interact with the product owner always try to see what is that I am investing and what is that I am expecting. In what way the solution must be beneficial to me in improving my business, right? So that is what their perception, because the perception from them is a long-term view. Because normally business owners never have a short-term goal, a short-term view. Of course, they may be having a short-term goal, but they may not have a short-term view. Whatever the view they have is a long-term view, because I'm investing now. What is my return of investment, ROA, right? What is my return of investment, all that. So this is what they see. This is all comes under the perception towards the business owner. Now, when you speak to a person who is performing billing, can you expect the same thing from them? Right? So because their perception is different, because a billing person always try to see in what way I must be beneficial because of the upgradation of the application. What is that are we performing? Means what kind of practical problems am I facing while I'm performing billing? Where am I going wrong? Right? So what are the activities I may be feeling difficult to perform? All these things comes under when you are interacting with a billing person. Right? So when you are interacting with an inventory professional always see from the product perspective, classification of the products, managing the products. Any new product was introduced into their inventory, right? How to add, right? So how to see how many products were available at the same time, right? So at the same time, there are some inventory control techniques those people follow, like two-bin system, ABC analysis, all that. So based on that, they'll be seeing which product is moving fast, which product is moving slow, right? So there are different techniques. Let's not get into that. So that's a different story altogether. So this is what generally their perception is. Now, if we speak to a store manager idea is different. Store manager always see the efficiency of the store to improve. So for that, he want to see how much sales happened so far, right? Which time we are getting more customers, either in the weekdays or weekends. If it is in weekdays, what time, what are the peak times to us, right? In order to manage the strength, what kind of changes they wants to make to provide more service to the customer. So like all these things. So requirement analysis, when you talk about this, when we are interacting with these many people, there are different perceptions. So being a business analyst, that sort of understanding level is required. So that is what we comes under requirement analysis. So that is what generally we see in reference to the requirement analysis itself is concerned. But practically speaking, but for few organizations, for any solution to be provided, there is an POC. We call it as POC or SPOC, SPOC, we call it as. Normally, we call a word called SPOC. or POC, we call it as. POC stands for point of contact. Point of contact. Because these are the terminologies. Because terminologies, using of terminologies is also required for a BA profile. Underline this point. Either it may be healthcare BA or a regular business analyst or a healthcare. The terminologies is required for you, because when you are working, of course, anyway, as you are starting your career as a beginner, maybe, but still using the terminologies relating to these will give you an additional advantage, right? So keep that in mind. So SPOC stands for single point of contact. Right? So single point of contact, we call it. So usually in some organizations, there will be a single point of contact is available. So that person will look after everything, right? So single point of contact, so that we don't require any difficulty, right? So because different perceptions, opinions, and all, everything will be there. So in some organizations, there will be a SPOC as separate. So that person, that individual will look after everything relating to the project, responsibility to give information and all, everything to the technical team. So this is what we call it as requirement analysis. The third, we call it as functional skills, as I mentioned you now, sometime back. So functional skills, nothing but knowing about the functionalities of the project. Functional skills. Right? So what is that? Are we discussing about retailing, or whatever we are about to discuss about the healthcare? All these things comes under the functional skills domain. Because when you are working, let's say for example, when you are working for a healthcare organization as a healthcare business analyst, what is that you want to do? I'll tell you in a simple note. Of course, the detailed explanation about how different from BA to healthcare BA, I'll explain it later. But as far as this functional skills itself is concerned, I'll give you a high level note to you. So when you talk about functional skills, when you are talking about healthcare BA, you need to understand how the claim processing and claim adjudication happens in any organization. Because as you know, healthcare, especially this health insurance claims and all, everything is very big in terms of the percentage, volume, and all, everything. Because especially in US market and Western market, whatever the expenses and all, everything for hospital and all, everything happens through insurance itself, right? So paying by cash and all, everything will be of very less percentage, because everybody will have their own valid insurance, health insurance and all, because it is expensive. Hence, it's mandatory for everyone to have health insurance. Of course, they may be taking private insurance in additional as separate. That's a different story, right? So that is out of their interest, they do it. So health insurance has importance and all, everything is required, especially in that market. So you need to have, if you want to transform yourself into a business analyst, first of all, you need to understand how a healthcare system, US healthcare system functions and works, how it functions, like who is payer, who is payee, all that, who is subscriber, you must be knowing it, because there are some terminologies and jargons which you must be good with. Of course, that will be learned by you in coming days. That's a different story. At the same time, you need to know how this claim processing and claim adjudication happens. So for that, what are the different transaction codes? Because earlier, whenever we used to send the claim processing and all, everything in a paper format, earlier in the beginning days, I'm talking about. So this is through emailing system we used to. That's how you usually, for example, in hospital has given a treatment to a patient, let's say for example, to a patient. Once the treatment is completed, money has to reimburse whatever the amount he has paid for the whole treatment, all everything that they have to reimburse that from the insurance organization. So for that, they have to send a claim request to them. Usually it happens through paper format. That's how earlier was. After that, there is a law which was introduced called HIPAA. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. What that act is, that act will protect the health information of the individual. The fundamental rule and fundamental right is that no health information of an individual should not be exposed outside without his consent, his or her consent, right? So this is the fundamental rule, right? Everywhere. So this applies everywhere. So that's the reason why whatever the claim processing and all, everything happens in an encrypted format. So when we are talking about encrypted format here, this encrypted format will be in different numbers, 835, 832, all stuff. So there will be numbers are there. So ICD codes, all these will be there. So that sort of functional skills and functional knowledge is required. In reference to healthcare, I am talking about. If it is not healthcare, maybe it may be retail, or it may be investment banking, or it may be payments domain, or maybe in any other domain. So functional skills need not be only healthcare, right? Of course, our training is healthcare BA, but in general, I'm saying. So functional knowledge is needed. So how the industry functions, how the industry works, right? How the industry behaves, right? So that sort of understanding really required for any business analyst to perform more better and effective. So this is what is required. So functional skills, acquiring functional knowledge or functional skills is not, or it will not happen in a day or two, right? It's a constant progress. As long as we are working on industry, we start our career, over a period of time, you will be acquiring knowledge. Either there are only two ways, because acquiring domain expertise, either you have to work within that system, you must be there within the system and you have to work. Then only domain and knowledge you will be acquiring. Otherwise, you need to interact with some people, some instructors and all that. So get some insights relating to that. So these are the only two ways as of now we will be having, but it's a constant learning. Functional experience, gaining functional knowledge or domain knowledge is not a one-day task, or it not a 1 month task or 2 month task, right? So this is a task which has to be continued over a period of time, right? It should not normally, there is no other short-term shortcut and all everything, right? No shortcuts for this. There is only one way, you have to follow that, right? So that's what generally we call it as functional skills, followed by this technical skills required. Technical skills required. Technical skills means people may have a perception here, Raj, do you want me to do testing, programming, or that? It is what my job to do? The answer is no. Answer is no. But if you have, that's a different choice, right? So because some people will have their, personally, they have their interest to learn programming or testing. If they are doing that, that's a different story, right? So always have a choice to learn, right? So personally, if they have interest, that's a different thing. But fundamentally speaking, for a business analyst, it is not required. Technical skills are not needed. But a minimum technical knowledge is required in a form of knowing about the process of application development lifecycle. This is what generally, first of all, we call it as SDLC, stands for Software Development Lifecycle, because this is the one which is highly useful to the people who are new to IT, because people who are already in IT, they have, they might be knowing about this, right? So what SDLC and all everything, they knows that. But the people who are coming from non-IT background will have a problem, right? So because they should know first how application development works, right? So how applications will be developed. And before before knowing about how application development are, first of all, they must be knowing about the stages of application development. So SDLC is not something a rocket science, right? So SDLC nothing but PDLC. Earlier we used to call it PDLC. What is PDLC? PDLC stands for Product Development Lifecycle. For example, you are developing a product. What is that we do? We have raw material. Raw material uh, will be turned into semi-finished good. From there, finished good, packaging, labeling. Next, you are selling it to the wholesaler. from there to retailer, from there to the customer, right? So this is the chain process. When you talk about product development life cycle, this is what it is. So whether you are manufacturing an airplane, or you are manufacturing a matchbox, or you are manufacturing a mobile, or you are manufacturing a watch, whatever it is, the product development life cycle remains constant. Maybe what kind of quality they are using, standards and all might be different. Industry might be different. But the development life cycle for anything, what is that are we manufacturing, remains constant. So software is not an excuse for this, right? Software, of course, is also a manufacturing thing. Manufacturing need not be a machine, right? Manufacturing need not be a watch or a mobile. Developing a project is also manufacturing, right? So of course, we don't use a word called manufacturing, but we are developing an application. But that is not that which you cannot see. Because if you are manufacturing a watch, a wristwatch, you can see it, right? But whereas software you can't see, you can see only the result. Final end result is what you can see. You don't see anything else apart, right? So that is the difference. So this is what, so SDLC process is what is needed first. And what are the development, different stages of development and all, everything is essentially required for you to perform in terms of the technical skills. So in this SDLC, you must be knowing about the stages of SDLC. What are the different stages of SDLC? This is what is required. At the same time, there are different models. So what are the different models? As I mentioned some time back about agile, right? Earlier you used to have waterfall model, V model, agile. All these were comes under the models. These are the models of software development lifecycle. So these models knowledge is also required. So when you talk about SDLC part, you must be knowing about the stages of application development. At the same time, which model is really suitable for us to develop the project. Again, for that, there are a lot of parameters, right? So feasibility, we have to do the feasibility study. We have to see whether within the existing budget, what is that we allocated, which model is really suitable. Again, it depends on kind of customer requirements. So all these, there are a lot of factors involved in choosing the right development life cycle model. That's different. So this is what generally the technical skills as a basic friend, being a new entrant, one must be good with. So this is what we call it as craft skills. So again, I'm repeating, communication skills required. It's not only verbal communication, you need to have some good written communication skills as well. It's a constant practice, remember. It's not a day job like you're doing it for not base, not happens. It's a constant learning, right? The writing down, because we'll be having some grammatical mistakes while we are speaking or writing. Usually it is a common thing for anyone. Nothing to hesitate or not to feel bad about it. So it's a constant learning, right? As long as you're writing down the documentation once and twice and all that, so we'll be perfect in vocabulary as well as in sentence formation. At the same time, listening skills, as I told you, requirement analysis, I have said, functional skills, mentioned you already, technical skills, it's about software development lifecycle stages, all that. So this is what generally the craft skills, being a business analyst, you must be good with. If you have any questions, you please put it on the chat box. So we'll clarify the questions and all once the session done. Okay, so this is what it is. Now I'm going to explain you about what are the activities which a business analyst do in a presentation format. I have a presentation for that, which I'll be showing it to you. What are the activities and how business analyst is connecting with other people, all that. Right. So business analyst activities, this is what I'm going to explain. So before I'm going to explain this, I'll give you one more point I would like to mention here, because when you talk about software, IT, application development, normally these services will be differentiated into two different, major is two. One is project-based companies, second is product-based companies. Let me write down here. Software IT companies, I can write it's better. IT company services will be divided into two categories. Mostly used, right? So categories, right? So IT company services will be divided into two categories. One is project-based company. Second is product-based companies. Right? Two services. One is project-based. Second is product-based. Project-based companies means based on the requirement of a particular customer, particular client. We develop the application or we develop the solution. Right? So this is what generally, project-based companies are. Means there is a customer has given the requirement. Whatever the product or whatever the application or the solution are you developing, so this you are developing right from the scratch. This is what project-based company is, right? So project-based company name, the name of project-based company is that, right? So developing a project right from the scratch, you are taking the requirements. As an example, I have taken point of sale system. Customer has an application. Customer wants you upgrade this to the next level. So when they want you to upgrade this to the next level, you are addressing the problem, you are trying to understand their problem and all that, and finally you are providing solution. So this is all comes under project-based companies. You can name any example, right? So Wipro, TCS, Infosys, even Accenture, right? So all these cognizant. So there are a lot of organizations across world. Of course, I am naming few prominent, but still there were many other good organizations even in small and mid-level organizations even there. So these are project-based company. So project-based services, I don't say company, it is all say, I can say project services. Means for a particular customer, we are providing solutions. And whatever the financials and all, everything will be paid by the client and we are doing it, right? This is one category. Second is product-based companies. Product-based company means we are developing a product based on the market needs, demands, and expectations. This is what generally product-based company stands for. The best example for product-based company, for widely used people was Microsoft, right? Microsoft has an operating system. Operating system itself is a product. Microsoft operating system itself is a product. So what Microsoft Corporation do? Microsoft Corporation has developed a product called operating system. Whoever wants, they can buy licenses from Microsoft. They can do it. Next, Oracle. Oracle as a corporation, they have a Oracle database they have created. If you want Oracle database to be used for your business related things, you can buy licenses from Oracle Corporation. You can name anything, right? You can take SAP. I think you might have heard about a word called SAP. Organization itself, followed by the product name is called SAP. It's an ERP product, right? Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP product. Whoever wants to buy, they can buy products from SAP. At the same time, Salesforce. Right? Salesforce is also a product powered by Salesforce Corporation, where they develop a CRM application on cloud environment. Whoever wants CRM services to be used for their customers to manage, they use products. So a product, we are investing some amount of money, time and all effort. We are developing a product. and whoever customer wants, they can buy licenses accordingly. So if you take any organization, some organization belongs to both the categories, right? Some organizations belongs to only a single category. Some people don't develop any products, they only do services. We in simple terms we call it a service industry, a services company. Services company means depends on the requirements of the customer, we are providing services. Some people do that. Some people do only products, so they develop products, right? So they develop, because have you ever seen Microsoft has developed any application for anyone, for any client? No, right? So they have their own operating system, they have their own tools which they have developed it, and whoever wants they can buy licenses and they can use it, right? So these are all comes under product based. Third is combination. Combination of product and project is the third category. Third category, project and product based, both. If product and project based company, the best example I can give Infosys. Infosys is one of the best. Of course, they have other companies even, but immediately I got this name. The reason I just said Infosys. Infosys Corporation is into both project-based company as well as products, because they have a product called Finacle. I think you might have heard about the name called Finacle. Finacle is a core banking solution product. This core banking application is in backend to manage backend operations of the banking system. Core banking application being used by all the financial institutions, banks, and all, especially in reference to the Asian continent. Most of, I'm not sure about US and all, but still in Asian countries, widely used this product is used. So they have a good presence across different continents. So Finacle is a product powered by Infosys Corporation. Finacle is a core banking application, core banking solution. Of course, hundreds of applications nowadays were introducing even by small organizations, which are uh, prominently increasing nowadays, called Joho. Right, Joho Corporation was recently they are into CRM software. A phenomenal. It's growing like anything, right? Joho Corporation locally. Like so, like that, there are different products developed by the organization. So this is how generally the categorization will be. So when you talk about IT services and all everything, one is service based things like project based companies, and second is product based company where they develop products and all and they sell that products and all. They'll give these product services and all to the people, whoever is required. And third level organizations will be there. Third type of organization where maintenance organizations, maintenance team, maintenance projects. I think you might have heard about earlier, people who were way back in the year of early 2000 millennium. I think whoever is in the IT industry might be knowing about a company called Satyam, Satyam, Satyam. You might have heard about this, but I'm not sure whether how many people know it. Earlier used to have a company called Satyam Computers. So that company has started their career from maintenance projects. Maintenance projects means, I'll give you an example to you. For example, there is a customer for cloud-based point of sale system. I was the vendor, right? So I have developed an application for that XYZ retail outlet. Now I developed the project. I done the project. Maintenance who has to take care of based upon the terms and conditions. Usually, initially 1 or 2 years, I'll be doing maintenance because my organization will do maintenance based on the terms and conditions. What is that with me with the client? Whether I may be doing it for free of cost or I may be charging minimal amount and all. It is our understanding. We do it. But this cannot be continued for a very long time due to the cost what I may be charging. For example, customer may feel whatever I may charging for maintenance and all everything is much larger, right? Almost equivalent to the product development, right? Assume that, right? If that was the case, what customer will say, customer will ask me to reduce the cost because this is only maintenance, right? So you're not doing anything else apart. So please do maintenance. Sometimes if I require, and personally, if we have that interest, be business oriented, we do it. Please mute yourself. I think there is some noise coming. Please mute yourself. Request to mute yourself, please. Thank you. Right. So, yeah, thank you. So what will happen here is, sorry. Yeah, right. So maintenance, right? So maintenance is what we do. So maintenance is what we are doing here. So customer may ask me for request to maintain the project for a less cost, which I may be reluctant sometimes to do that. So what customer do? Customer will see another alternate who can manage the project. So they will hire the people for the less cost. Wherein what is that I do is that I do KT. KT, we call it as KT. KT stands for knowledge transfer. We do KT. KT stands for knowledge transfer. Right. So we call it as knowledge transfer. We call it as KT, stands for knowledge transfer. So what is that I do, being because my company has developed the project. So we explain everything. So we transfer the knowledge and all, share the knowledge and all, transfer the knowledge, everything to the maintenance team, so that they will look after the maintenance over a period of time. So this is how usually happens, because most of the people have a conception that whoever has developed the project, we do the maintenance forever. To an extent possible, what is that you're thinking is right, but not to the full extent, because sometimes it won't happen even. Sometimes there are possibilities that customer can choose their own maintenance. So now when it comes to Satyam Computers is the organization which has started their services in the field of maintenance. Yeah. It's started their career in the field of maintenance. They used to do the maintenance works and all everything, because time schedules are different, right? Your is night, and here, especially in India, it is in Indian Asian times and all. Here it is the other way around, right? So it is in the morning time. Your morning is evening here. So they used to take care of all the maintenance works, any support works and all everything. That's how they have started their journey. After that, phenomenally, they have increased for more than 100 countries. They have provided services successfully. Of course, that's a history. It was happened. That's a different this thing history altogether. So this is also there, right? So maintenance projects is also there. So project-based companies will be there. Product-based companies will also be there. Maintenance-based organizations will also be there here. Right. So these are the three different organizations or three different companies you can see everywhere. Right. So this is what the whole picture about the craft skills, followed by the type of services offered by the IT companies in different ways, all that. Right. So this is all about the session. And followed by this, these are the activities. Of course, I have not started it. So this business analysis activities, do you want me to start this from tomorrow onwards? Is it fine? Because if I start, I have to complete this, because I cannot stop in between. I think it is nearing to Manik. What is that you say? Do you want me to do this tomorrow? Business analyst activities, all that stuff. So these activities of BA, because this is what the screen is all about, activities of BA, what business analysts do and how business analyst is interacting with. Because if you can see the diagram, you could understand it. So project sponsor will be interacting with business analyst, and business analyst vice versa is interacting with the project manager, project sponsor even, to understand the business requirements. At the same time, business analyst is also interacting with the project manager, because to know about the scope and status of the project. Scope, nothing but possibility. Do we have the possibility or not? Do we have the sufficient budget? Do we have the technical expertise or not? All these will be discussed with the project manager. User requirements, user nothing but billing person, inventory, right? User requirements we are gathering from them. At the same time, if there is any other stakeholders we have and all, their expectations, their constraints, demands will also be taken into an account. Finally, what is that we have identified so far that has to be translated into a document format called business requirements. Normally, being a business analyst, we prepare these things. Business analyst will prepare the list of documents, usually in real environment. And the first one we call it as BRD, stands for business requirements document. Of course, we don't prepare BRD directly, because there is a lot of exercise normally we do before you are going to prepare this document. It will not be happen in a first day itself, right? Or a couple of days, because you need to know about the objective, scope, all that stuff, followed by this BRD, business requirements document, which completely explains about BRD part. Next, functional FRD, we call it as functional and non-functional requirements document. Means what are the functional requirement document? Yeah. So functional requirements document, like what are the different functionalities are you developing for that application? What are the non-functionalities? All this comes under FRD. Next, SRS document we support. We don't prepare directly, but SRS document we support. This is what we call it as software requirement specification. To develop the project, what kind of software and hardware is required, operating system, database, all these things comes under SRS part. So this is normally technical people do, we help it out. Next, we have UML diagrams we prepare even. Right? So UML diagrams like unified modeling language, like use case, all that stuff. Because to visualize the process of something, UML diagrams we prepare. Not many. There are use case sequence and all will be there. So those will be prepared by us. Apart from that, if you are following agile environment, you write user stories. There is difference. Right? So whatever the traditional model you follow, these documents you prepare. If you follow agile model, you write user stories. There is a difference. Of course, that difference I'll tell you in the coming days, right? So we write user stories even. So these are the things as a part of requirements communication, which if you want to interact with these people, with these developers and all that, so these functional and non-functional requirements, for that, we prepare the documents. That's the reason why I have told you, when I have explained you about the craft skills, I have mentioned about written communication due to this reason. Clear to everyone? Right. So this is all for session for today. So this is all for now. It's time for us to have any questions. Yeah, let's get back to the. Do we need to take a note? You don't require to take a note, Vishnu, because this class notes I am preparing, this session notes, this I call it as session notes, which I'll be sharing to you guys so that you can go through that. Day-to-day schedule I'll write down, because yesterday I have started, today even. I'll write down the dates, right? So dates I'll mention, I'll send it to you so that you can see. Of course, I don't use Word document, as I mentioned earlier yesterday. I don't use Word document every day. When it is needed, I use Word document. Otherwise, no. Right? So I will mention that. So you don't require. If you want, that is your personal interest. If you want to take a notes, you can take. So take a notes of it. Craft is RA, stands for requirement analysis, Rajesh. It's RA. It is for you. Craft skills RA stands for requirement analysis. There is no difference. There is no R and A separate. RA stands for requirement analysis. Okay, fine. Yeah, I have written it. So there is nothing called security. This is from a question called environment classroom, right? So I think his product-based company more secure than project. See, there is nothing to do with security here. It's a service, right? So product-based company, some organizations will develop products, some companies will develop projects, right? So that is different from one to another. It will not be the same for everyone. So it is nothing to do with security. Security is nothing to do with services, right? So depends on the expertise what that organization has. They follow that services. I didn't understand your question, Pradeep. Doesn't KT happen when a BA leaves? What does it mean? Pradeep, are you there? I didn't understand your question. KT stands for knowledge transfer, right? So knowledge transfer can be from anyone to anyone. It need not be by a single organization. It may be with BA also. For example, the business analyst leaving out of the project or organization, whatever the information is he sharing to other person who is coming for on that specific role, that's also we call it as KT. KT stands for knowledge transfer. That's it. I hope you understood. I think Ashima, I think we also do a project charter, project chapters and all that. So that I'll discuss it later, right? Because this is an intro level, so which I'm not going anything in detail as of here. Where can we find recordings? Okay, so I think Mr. Manik will look after the recordings and all everything to you so that you can go through that. This is for Pravat Kiran. So this session notes I'll be giving to you, Kani, yes. So this document I'll be sharing to you. So I'll be mentioning the name, dates, and all everything. I'll be mentioning to you, so you guys can take care of it. No problem. So you can go through that as a reference document. Next. Yeah, so it is from the Pradeep. The question is from BRD, FRD, SRD. Do we need to take a template to the job? See, templates will be available in the organization because it is not that I am carrying personally, right? Because organization develop different projects and all, so they have their own templates. Of course, most of the templates looks the same, but there will be some slight variation. I don't say that the same BRD document, what is that I'm showing will be the same across people, right? So there is some slight variation, but importance of BRD and how and what to prepare is what is that you need to learn. So templates will be provided by the organization because organization intact, of course, they have it. So you don't require to carry from your end. Okay. So functional and non-functional requirements, the detailed part I will explain it later, Krishmi, because that's the reason. This what about for what is functional, what is non-functional? Tomorrow I am explaining to you how it is different, what is feature, what is functional, what is non-functional. That I'll explain tomorrow. We have very less time. That's what I have said some time back. This is for Krishmi. Okay. This is for your question. Yeah, it's working now, Arju. I think we have tested. I think it's working fine. Perfect now. I think I don't see any problem now. Let's see if any problem. Again, we'll rectify it. I don't think so now. To focus to pass the examination, I'm going in. Yeah, see, first of all, that is what I said. First of all, please go through the class. This is for the question from Sita Kanal. See, first of all, please focus on the class. What is that I may be teaching to you? Please go through the recording. In reference to that, whatever the session notes in a document format I am giving, please follow both and prepare yourself. So to pass your examination once the session is done, once the training done. Okay. Where can we find the recordings? Yes, same question. I answered it. Project-based company, I have given an example, Praveen. Sometime back, I have given an example. Project-based companies like Infosys, right? That's what. See, sometime back, I have told you, right? Point of sale system you're developing for a customer. right? So that's a project based, right? So you are for a particular customer, you are developing an application. This is not for everyone else apart, because that customer is investing money. So we are providing direct services to the customer. That's what we call it as project based company. For example, you are providing services for Samsung Electronics, right? So Samsung wants a CRM application. You are developing an application for their own need, right? So all this comes under project based. See, it is very simple for you to understand. Project based to product based, I'll give you a simple example. I hope you understood, but still in a simple, more manner. You go to shopping, right? You go to shopping. You can buy a cloth, and according to the measurements, you can stitch your dress, right? So this is project based. Product based, you're going for shopping, whatever the ready-made garments you have, you're taking it, but there is possibility, depends on the length and all, sometimes there is an alteration and all, which that shopkeeper do it. That is product based. Simple. The answer is this. I hope, I mean, in more simple terms I have explained this, right, to make it simple for you. Are we going to have class for developing functional and technical skills? Is healthcare BA the only functional skills we will discuss, or normally we focus more on healthcare, but of course, whatever the example I am taking now, here is POI system for you to understand much better as of now, because it can be related to everyone, right? Retail industry, shopping, all that. That's the reason I am taking this example. But our focus will be majorly onto healthcare related, because our training is completely relating to healthcare BA. But BA has to be covered first, then healthcare topics will be covered next. That's how we do it, Saurav. So for someone who has a full-time job already, can we do BA on site? I cannot answer for this question, because that depends on the personal, that person individual capacity, as well as the rules and regulations to be followed. But practically it's not, because of course BA role is important, but may or may not, right? So, but I don't suggest that usually, because personally, as a personal note, usually, right? So that's not that both happening on a single time may not be successful, right? By doing a full-time job and doing it as by side of as a BA, because again it depends on what kind of role they will be taking you, right? So if they are taking your role which is prominent, so then it's a problem, right? So you have to put your effort 100%. So then it will disturb your full-time job even. So that is your personal decision, so that I cannot say any answer straight away to that. BRD documents, I'll show you, right? So business requirements documents, this is how it looks like. This is how BRD templates and all everything looks like. So this is how generally BRD document looks like, business requirements document, all that. So I will explain you. So one by one I'll explain. You not be worried on it. Yeah, this is what, Kani. I think this is for your question. What is that you're asking? This is what the answer is, right? So this is how generally business requirements documents and all everything looks like. So project details, you will be mentioning about the document resources, stakeholder details has to be mentioned, dependencies, all this comes under that. This is how it is. I think you can see now, right? Bandhan, yesterday class recording, I think it was shared. You please contact them, no problem. This document was shared in WhatsApp. I do one thing. Anyway, we have a WhatsApp group. We have a WhatsApp group. In the WhatsApp group itself, the session notes, what is that I may prepared, I have written today, that I'll be sharing in WhatsApp directly, so that you can make a note of it, right? You can take it. In the WhatsApp itself, I'll be sharing it to you. Day wise, I'll mention the day wise so that you can follow accordingly. As I mentioned earlier, there is no recommendation as of now for a material. If there is any material, I'll be providing from my end, soft copy, which was provided by me. So I will, anyway, I'll be in touch with Mr. Manik so that whatever the necessary materials required for the BA and all, everything will be shared accordingly, so that I do it later. Next, product and project based example. I think Shafali, I think you have missed something. I think in my session, I already explained that project based companies. Product based company, nothing but you're developing. For example, SAP as a corporation. SAP is developing a product called ERP, right? So project based, as I mentioned some time back, there is a cloud based application you're developing for the benefit of the customer. That's what project based example is. Product based example is you're developing a product for the benefit of the market and industry. You can take anything, either it may be an core banking application or it may be an online banking application. In a simple note, I'm saying, right? Either it may be an ERP application, or it may be an payroll management system, or it may be an accounting software even, right? Focus, Wings, Tally, right? So these are the accounting softwares we are using for accounts, right? So all these work comes under the products, right? So products example is that. I think you understood. SR is nothing but Pratishtha. It is SR is nothing but software requirement specification. For example, I'll tell you an example to you. For example, you want to develop a mobile, right? You want to manufacture a mobile. What features should be there in the mobile and all, everything comes under business print. How to develop that mobile, what configuration is required, right? So what Android, is it that Android you're using or iOS you're using, right? So which hardware, chips, IC circuits, right? Board, all this comes under the technical part, right? So software and hardware requirements. So that's what we call it as software requirement specification. So when you're developing an application, it's not only the functionality, right? If you want to develop the application, there is some software and hardware requirements to be developed even. So that is what we call it as SRS, stands for software requirement specification. Normally technical people will prepare, but being a business analyst, we will be in connect to that. That's what it is. Sir, third one is service based. Of course, I am just, because for it to more elaborate, I have given Sumit. Service based or maintenance based. Maintenance based means projects, maintenance they takes care of. They don't develop projects, maintenance will be taken care of by them. That's it. That is the third one, apart from product to project. This is from Isha. Can you explain combination based organization? What does it mean, Isha? I didn't get your question properly. What was that? Can you explain combination based organization? I didn't understand your question. Come again, please. Yes, this is how the BRD document looks like, Kani. I'll be sharing. You need not be worried at all, right? So there is long way to go to start BRD, all that stuff. There is a long way to go. So I'll be showing it to you. So this, anyway, of course, for your referral, I'm just showing this document to you. So it's already there in the screen sharing. You can see that. That multiple choice questions will be there. Some questions will be multiple choice questions, yes, and some questions Q&A kind of stuff will be given as an examination format. So that comes in the end of this thing, not now, Sita. It's within a month. After that, it seems like it is much more vast that barely could cover everything just in a month. So it's a 4-week session, Mr. Soni, right? So I have started because this is an introductory session since yesterday and today I'm going a little bit slow, right? I don't want to go more faster, right? Because if I go faster in the way what I can, because it will be above their heads for someone, right? So I don't want to do it. So in a month time, usually this BA training will be covered. You need not be worried because this is a continuous practice, what we do, right? So we know how to cover it. So I plan it accordingly. Need not be worried on it. If there is More time it will be taken, 1 or 2 days or 3 days or 4 days more, it will be taken. So it depends on how people are receiving all that stuff. That can be, no problem. So qualification and all, QA as a BA, I have already told you in a form of craft skills, Bikram. I think you might have understood. For QA and all, yesterday I have told you, right? Quality analyst, you must be knowing about the process of quality, right? So quality testing, quality life cycle, testing part. So that sort of knowledge is required to become a QA. But for BA, qualification required, as I told you. Craft skills is what the qualification I can say, skill set, I can say. So there is no qualification and all here, right? So what is that you have? You need to have a good communication skills, all that. Of course, whatever the educational qualification will be there with you is an add-on to it. Yeah. Do you want me to show the session notes? Yeah. This is what the session notes. This is what that is. BRD, FRD, all that. This is for you, Kani. You can also find it. Yeah, you can please contact to Mr. Manik Sonish. So I think you'll be receiving all that, right? So WhatsApp, all that. So if you don't have any questions, you can always leave Shraddha. It's time to leave even me as well. It's time. So even I'm also closing session as earliest. UML diagrams and all everything that we discuss it later, Ranjit. Product and project based companies, as I told you, Infosys is an example. I think I have given you because they are into both. Maintenance projects been simple. See, I have developed a project, right? So who has to take care of the maintenance? If there is any problem, live problem comes, who is to take care of that? There must be someone to take care of. Normally, who do that? Person who has done the project has to do it, right? Sometimes that's what we call it as maintenance, support time, support team, support projects. That's what generally maintenance is. SDLC, I'll explain tomorrow, Deepa, not now, because SDLC I'm explaining tomorrow. Software development lifecycle. PDLC, I don't, because PDLC for a reference purpose, I have just mentioned it. SDLC, there is a slide, I'll be explaining it tomorrow. Because there is a slide for SDLC, software development. Of course, SDLC have not started it. So I don't want to get into that. So this is what SDLC stands for. This I'm going to explain tomorrow, not now. Okay, because we have very short time. I'll explain it tomorrow. No worries. Okay, right. I think they have done with sessions. Okay, right. So the session was ended for today. We'll meet again tomorrow and we discuss more further about, we start from SDLC, right? So I think the introductory part of everything is done. Thank you, everyone. Good night. We'll meet tomorrow. Bye. Manik, are you there? Manik?
Yes, Raj, I'm there. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I end the session now, or
Yes, you can go ahead. You can go ahead and end the session. Yes.
Right. I don't require to stop the recording, right? So I can simply end.
Yes, you can simply end. Or yeah.
End meeting for all. I'm doing it now.